On September 29, 2019, Deputy James and Deputy Zhang from the Shelby County Sheriff's Office in Tennessee, a potentially dangerous engagement unfolded due to their reckless actions. The incident began when the officers responded to a call regarding a package theft based on doorbell camera footage. The complainant, Mr. Aaron Branch's girlfriend's mother, alleged that a neighbor had taken a package from her porch. Upon arriving at the scene, Deputy James and Deputy Zhang engage with the witnesses, specifically Ms. Vernita Eccles, who identified the neighbor across the street as a suspect. She further mentioned that the neighbor might have a bench warrant for her arrest. Within minutes, the officers made their way across the street to confront the neighbor, seemingly without validating the claims made by the callers. Surprisingly, Deputy James immediately announced his intention to arrest the neighbor without properly investigating the situation. It was during this engagement that Mr. Branch, the original recorder of the incident, arrived on the scene while openly carrying a firearm on his hip. He questioned the officers about the package's ownership, leading to Deputy James ordering him to disarm for officer safety. However, Tennessee law permits citizens to bear arms for self-defense, and there's no requirement to disarm themselves around officers unless there's a legitimate safety concern.
Okay, now that box that came off the front porch, did y'all see a name on that box by any chance?
We didn't get a chance to look at it because it was stolen before we got a chance.
Now, if we show you guys what the box looked like, how you doing, sir? Are you an officer, sir?
Put your hands up, man.
I don't need to put my hands up.
This is for officer safety.
I don't need to put my
This is for
hands
officer
up.
safety.
Don't
Put your hands up, dude.
The situation escalated as Deputy James unholstered his firearm, which Mr. Branch rightly challenged. This action was unnecessary and potentially dangerous escalation, as Mr. Branch was not displaying any behavior that indicated he posed a threat to the officers. Deputy James cited a state statute to justify his actions, but his interpretation was flawed considering the circumstances. Furthermore, the officers threatened to arrest Mr. Branch and his girlfriend for disorderly conduct, despite being on private property.
The proper procedures, you're supposed to ask if he has his handgun permit.
You don't know. Okay.
Yes, I do.
Hey,
Yes, I do. We went to the class. Yes, I do.
I don't need to keep my
Put your
hands up.
gun
I haven't
away.
committed a
Yes,
crime.
put your gun away.
I have
You
not
asked
For
to
committed
see
officer
his-
safety.
You asked to see his permit.
Ma'am.
Okay,
Can he just step in the house then?
No,
I need
I'm
that
asking.
car.
We're not talking to you,
I'm
man.
in my car right now.
We're not talking to you right now.
You asked to see.
We're not talking to you
Okay, we'll
right
go in the house then.
I don't need to go in there. I haven't committed a crime.
You have a
I
permit.
haven't committed. I do have a
We're not
crime.
saying.
Where's your permit?
Amber, record Officer J. We're gonna make a start here today. I'm gonna make a start at
Come
James
on.
today.
There's
I'm gonna make
no
you a
threat.
start, James. I'm gonna make
Let me
you
see
a
your
start
permit.
today.
Step away, man. We're not talking to you.
Okay.
Let me see your permit.
Okay.
Keep this arm up. Let me see your
I
permit.
don't need to keep anything. I can do whatever the
This is officer safety. No, sir.
Do whatever.
Calm
Do what you do. Do your
Police
job.
officers
Do your
are-
job. Hold on, hold on, hold on.
Police officers are in your presence.
The First Amendment protects speech on private property, and the officer's threats infringed upon this right. Legal precedents underline the special protection for personal liberties within one's home. The officer's subsequent behavior with an unidentified woman, initially detained due to the reported theft, raises Fourth Amendment concerns. While reasonable suspicion justified her initial detention, the officers extended her handcuffed detention in a police cruiser even after she provided evidence that could have dispelled their suspicions. Courts have ruled that such extended detentions could transform investigative stops into arrest, violating the Fourth Amendment.
There it is.
That's not
You go to law school?
I did go to law school.
Okay, you passed the bar?
I did
So
pass
you're
the
a
bar.
lawyer?
I am a lawyer.
Okay.
I don't have to disarm myself. That's not how the law works.
Come here.
I'm not
Come here.
going anywhere with
Come
you.
here.
Just go
I
in
have
the
not
house.
committed a crime. They know I haven't committed a crime.
Okay,
They know I have not
Amber.
committed a crime. Amber, I want you to record them. I'm gonna make stars out of both of them. James
ahead.
and Zing. I'm gonna make big stars out of them. I love tyrants. I love tyrants like yourself.
Either you step inside or you go to
I'm a
jail.
private. I'm a law-abiding citizen.
5, 4,
I'm not your child.
Wait, hold on, wait.
Two.
Yeah,
Fine,
go.
I'm not his child.
No,
Bro, you're not scaring nobody with that fucking permit.
question or whatever.
You're not talking about.
Despite these issues, Mr. Branch managed to de-escalate the situation through assertive dialogue. He challenged the officers' actions while maintaining composure and asserting his rights. Eventually, the officers released the detained woman, but not without her being held for an excessive duration. Now, let's move on to the next investigation. In an incident that occurred on July 3, 2021, officers from the Elkhart Police Department were called to respond to a disturbance at a hotel in Elkhart, Indiana. The officers stopped 3 teenagers whom they believed to be responsible for the disturbance and demanded that they identify themselves. As tensions began to rise, one of the bystanders at the scene started recording the encounter.
It doesn't matter. Talking about us. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. He doesn't want you guys back here. And to verify that, I need your names so that if you do show up again, you can then go to jail. Okay? So what is your name before I put you all in handcuffs and take you all to jail? Okay. Then you're gonna. I ain't going to jail. Okay. What is your name?
Y'all ain't got no right now.
Yeah, we do. We waiting. Right.
Despite the potential escalation, the officers did not conduct a thorough investigation into the situation. According to best practices for police interactions, responding officers are expected to perform comprehensive preliminary investigations, including interviewing witnesses to accurately determine suspects. However, the officers in this case seemed uninterested in investigating further and instead continued to insist that the teenagers provide their identification.
Because we can't verify that you are the parent or guardian. So, again, I'm going to ask again before you all want to do that. What is your name? We can't just release it. Let me talk to them. Let's talk to them.
But if they weren't part of the confusion, then I don't understand what's going on.
The boys and bystanders maintained that they were not involved in the initial disturbance, but the officers did not seem willing to consider this possibility. The officers' conduct raised questions about their failure to follow proper investigation procedures, even though there is no legal obligation for police officers to conduct in-depth investigations.
But if you keep playing this game with us, I want him to come out here before I say anything.
They gone. They went out the back door. They went out the back door.
No, I'm talking about the manager that said that we was because he know it's not us.
No, it wasn't them.
Exactly. That's why I want him to come out here.
He doesn't want to come out here right now.
Man,
he has a job to do, which is
it.
inside. No, because he doesn't want you inside. He doesn't want you on the property.
Don't know it.
The bystander recording the incident questioned the officer's authority to detain the teenagers based on Indiana's trespassing laws. He argued that since the teenagers had not refused to leave the property when asked, they could not be considered trespassing. The officer countered by citing Indiana trespassing law, which allows charges to be brought against individuals who knowingly or intentionally refuse to leave private property after being asked to do so by the property owner or their agent. However, legal precedent indicated that a police officer who is neither the property owner nor an agent of the owner cannot create a trespass violation merely by asking someone to leave and then arresting them for noncompliance. In this instance, the officers were acting in their capacity as police officers and not as agents of the property owner, so their detention of the teenagers on suspicion of trespassing seemed unjustified.
These are not them. Right? These are not them.
So would you like these gentlemen also trespassing the property?
We didn't have nothing to do with that. Yes. No, they had nothing to do with it. All right, man, get my... It was taller boys who are probably already all gone because they knew that you were coming and they don't want to deal with police. Okay. He come out here. No, but when I walked in, he pointed to you gentlemen. Man, that's all I wanted to come out. You got my name for nothing. He didn't want to come out. It wasn't that hard for him to come out here and clear it up. He's trying to put it in here because take him sure because you're not cooperating. You're not doing his job right. It's easy for me to control the situation. I am doing my job right.
What's your name, badge number?
He was talking about. They was in there talking about gunplay with this dude, man. That's
sure, and when I got here, listen, when I got here, he pointed to these gentlemen.
We told you it was
okay. The description that he gave. I can't take your word for it when he pointed to you.
Furthermore, Indiana law does not have a stop and identify statute that mandates individuals to provide identification during criminal investigations. The statute requires individuals to provide identification to law enforcement officers, and that only applies when someone is stopped for an infraction or ordinance violation. This means that the officer's demand for identification lacked a legal basis.
He did. He was already in there, bro. He pointed to you. I don't want to hear your conversation.
Name and badge number, please. Isn't LCAR policy for you to identify yourself to the public?
Yes, they probably already left.
Okay.
Because they all probably have their licenses.
That's fine.
And they drove off. Okay. They didn't want to deal with you guys.
The situation escalated further when one officer claimed that the hotel manager had misidentified the teenagers as the perpetrators of the disturbance. Despite the assertion from the bystanders that the detained teenagers were not involved, the officers seemed unwilling to reconsider their actions. The bystanders and teens remained composed, and with the intervention of the bystanders, the officers were eventually compelled to release the teenagers. Now let's take a look at another investigation. In a notable incident on June 12, 2020, a confrontation between an Amazon delivery driver named Deja Murphy and property owner Keith Miller in Lowell, Indiana, has brought to light the complexities of enforcing laws on private property. The incident, originally reported by the Times of Northwest Indiana and discussed on Lackluster's channel, involves issues related to traffic laws, private property rights, criminal confinement, and police authority. The situation unfolded when Miller, convinced that Murphy was speeding on his property, employed his truck to block her exit.
Good luck, buddy.
No. Bottom line is, I need your ID. Sure. You're going to pull your truck in your driveway. Yep. I'm going to get her information. I'm going to do a report, and we're going to go about our day.
I'm going to get my wallet from my office.
Huh?
No,
you're not. You're going to just give me your name and information.
Oh, sure.
I'm not spending all day with this. This is ridiculous.
I asked, and we have since put cameras up. I just said,
what's your last name?
Miller, M-I-L-L-E-R.
He proceeded to demand her identification, thereby initiating a tense standoff. Responding to Murphy's call, Officer John from the Lake County Sheriff's Department arrived at the scene. He clarified that he lacked jurisdiction to enforce speeding laws on private property, igniting a discourse on the distinction between public roads and private driveways. Indiana's legal framework underscores the limited jurisdiction of traffic laws on private property. State law specifies that highway regulations pertain to publicly maintained roads accessible for vehicular travel. In contrast, a private driveway, such as Miller's property, doesn't fall within this category. Therefore, Murphy's alleged speeding on the driveway couldn't be penalized as a traffic violation under Indiana law. However, exceptions do exist. In certain cases, police can enforce traffic rules on private property where the public's invited. This enforcement relies on local ordinances and agreements between property owners and law enforcement authorities. These provisions empower the police to regulate traffic and parking on private property under specific circumstances.
Thank you.
Sorry.
Pull forward. Okay, ma'am. I need your license. Because you called the police, he called the police, and I'm called here. That's why I need your information. That's all the information I need. And he's upset because you were speeding. I told him he couldn't do what he's doing. And you're going to go on your way, and if you have any issues, you and your company can stop delivering here.
Okay.
How's that?
He came to my door. That's what bothered me. He came in my door, opened the door, told me to get the hell out my door.
While these local ordinances may not encompass the full scope of state traffic laws, they still grant authorities the capacity to uphold specific regulations. Miller's actions also raise questions about potential criminal charges. Officer Marshall suggested that his conduct might align with the crime of criminal confinement, defined as knowingly or intentionally restricting another person's liberty without consent.
That's harassment.
You know what? Let's stop.
Okay.
We're going to do a report, and we're going to go about our day.
It's harassment.
Everything's everything. You know what?
That's harassment.
There'll be a report on file.
While Murphy's situation didn't precisely match this definition, it highlighted the broader issue of maintaining public safety and individual rights on private property.
To the prosecutor's office?
This is Lake County?
Yeah. Yes. We'll give you a case number.
Yeah, I want the case number.
It'll be on the report, sir.
What's your name?
It'll be on the report. It's Marshall.
Marshall.
And tell your friend on the phone I'm not upset with you.
That's my brother.
You know what?
You know where everything's going on. That's the only reason why.
Everyone's fine. We're here. I don't need your brother telling me my job and what we need to do. I think you need to get a hold of your supervisor and tell him.
Oh no, we already talked.
Okay.
She was on the phone when all of this
Hold
happened.
your supervisor. What's the phone number you can reach that?
219-779.
The incident also touched on the concept of harassment. However, Indiana law defines harassment as involving communication with an intent to harass, annoy, or alarm another person without legitimate communication. Because this definition doesn't cover in-person interactions, Miller's actions toward Murphy, while unsettling, might not fall within the legal definition of harassment. Fundamentally, the incident underscores the scope of police authority concerning private property and the need to strike a balance between individual rights and public welfare. Indiana's police power enables the state to enact reasonable restrictions on private property to ensure community safety, health, and morality. While the jurisdiction of traffic laws on private driveways remains limited, criminal violations, regardless of the location, can still lead to police intervention. On March 28, 2022, officers from the Sunrise Police Department were dispatched in response to multiple 911 calls. The calls claimed that Wyatt Yeager, a TikTok user better recognized as Icy Wyatt, had exhibited reckless driving behavior and assaulted another driver with a pistol in a Chick-fil-A parking lot. Subsequent events were recorded by the officers' body cameras.
To get back in the car, stop blocking traffic. You literally was at someone else's car, talking to them, banging on their window.
I think they called too.
Yeah, woman in the car. Like beating on the window. I was like, come on, man, get back in the car, go about your day. He goes, oh, fuck you, this and that, I got a gun, all this. I'm like, okay, whatever. He cuts us off right here.
Okay.
He threw the drink at me, so I got out of the truck, obviously. Once I got out, he walks back into his car, he grabs his gun, points it at me.
While the officers were in the process of interviewing the individuals who had reported the incident, Mr. Yeager himself dialed 911 to provide his perspective on the situation. He recounted the events. The officers subsequently acquired Mr. Yeager's contact information and requested a meeting with him.
Like that crazy.
While the officers questioned the alleged victims, Mr. Yeager also called 911 about the situation.
I just pulled over because somebody tried to kill me in the car.
Okay, tell me exactly what happened.
This truck came up and tried to cut me off. So I pulled over to the next lane, and again, he's trying to swerve into my lane and tried to hit the car. So I stopped the vehicle, and he gets right in front of me. They stopped the car right in front of me, dead stop, so that I almost hit them. And they get out of the car like they're ready to fight. And then I had 4 guys jump out the car and say,
Did they hurt you, sir?
They did not hurt me because I had a gun.
No. Okay, and did you put the gun back in the case, or you still have it in your hand?
I just opened the glove box and I said, do you guys really want to fuck me right now?
However, Mr. Yeager declined to meet unless he had legal representation present. Eventually, the officers located Mr. Yeager as he was departing from his residence. Approaching the scene with their firearms drawn, they instructed him put the car in park. Mr. Yeager asserted that during his arrest, the officers neglected to inform him of his Miranda rights.
Put the car in park. Let's go. Put it in park. All right. Put both your hands out the window.
Put your hands out the window.
I don't know who I am.
Nope.
Get out of the car. Keep your hands up. I can't take the seatbelt off. Take your seatbelt off and get out of the car. Do it now. Lay down on the ground.
I know my right.
Get on the ground. Get on the ground or you're going to get tased. Get on the ground or you're going to get tased. Get on the ground. Get on the ground.
In his defense, Mr. Yeager argued that the officers were not authorized to seize his phone. He further maintained that they would require video evidence to substantiate his arrest, as he possessed multiple witnesses who would vouch for his version of events. Mr. Yeager's girlfriend, Mazing Usher, who is also recognized by the online alias More Amazing, asserted that Mr. Yeager's action of pistol whipping the other driver was undertaken as an act of self-defense against an imminent attack, given the situation at hand.
Situation that nobody helped him with. I guess he called someone.
He called 911 and then he went all the way back here instead of meeting with us.
Yes, he came home after being attacked by 2 hillbilly crazy people in a truck.
But he pistol whipped them over the top of their head.
Because they attacked him.
On March 31st, 2022, Mr. Yeager posted on Twitter alleging that the Sunrise County Police and Broward County Ambulance had ambushed him in his neighborhood. He claimed they arrived at his house after he had sought help for a road rage incident earlier that day using force at gunpoint. He also stated he didn't assault a police officer, but that his phone was forcibly taken from him, leading to accusations of battery.
Well, if they got pistol whipped with a gun, then they're victims.
Okay.
Yes, we are going to...
And he's a victim of being attacked while driving. They were speeding in front of him. So you guys not aware of like the full story?
We heard that there was some kind of a road rage incident that started it, but
I was aware that like multiple people hung up on his call when trying to call for assistance from these crazy drivers.
I called
him myself, actually. Oh yeah, we heard you on the phone trying to like find his home to just like show up. Wonderful.
Well, to talk to him about what happened.
Okay. So I'll just follow you guys and see you there. Thank you.
Mr. Yeager shared TikTok videos about the incident, but his account has been removed since. In an overall assessment of the Sunrise officers' actions, they receive a C+ grade. While some officers acted professionally, others engaged in antagonistic dialogue. Excessive force was used in some instances, causing injuries to Mr. Yeager. The motivations behind some actions seemed retaliatory due to his conduct. The officers also failed to administer Miranda warnings before questioning Mr. Yeager, potentially affecting the admissibility of his statements in court. On the other hand, Mr. Yeager is criticized for his disrespectful behavior during the encounter and for not utilizing his right to remain silent. While video evidence of the alleged altercation is lacking, footage showed Mr. Yeager driving recklessly. Despite his changing statements and delayed 911 calls, there may be some merit to the allegations against him in the road rage incident, given various factors. Now here's the next investigation. On July 16, 2019, Deborah Hamill, a 65-year-old grandmother, was stopped by Officer Massini from the Cashin Police Department. The reason for the stop was a broken taillight on her truck while she was driving in Cashin, Oklahoma. The subsequent exchange between them is recorded by Officer Massini's body camera. After Ms. Hamill declined to exit the vehicle, Officer Massini proceeded to remove her forcefully, resulting in her being thrown to the ground. He then made an attempt to handcuff her. However, Ms. Hamill resisted by refusing to place her hands behind her back and kicking Officer Massini.
How long ago has it been like that?
Probably about 6 months.
Oh, okay. Well, you've had plenty of time to get it fixed.
I've driven up here a lot.
Live here in town?
No, my name's Hamill. I live out on Highway 74.
Hamill, huh?
Yeah, Hamill.
Related to Hank?
I'm his mother.
Oh, okay. Yeah, busted taillight seems to be a pattern with the Hamills.
Well, y'all had a headlight out on one of your cop cars the other night.
We did?
In response, Officer Massini backed away and drew his taser. When Ms. Hamill tried to stand up, he discharged the taser, invoking Section 643 of the situation. Ms. Hamill was informed that her decision to flee had exacerbated her legal predicament. Subsequently, she faced charges of eluding, resisting arrest, obstructing law enforcement, and assault and battery on an officer.
Just looking for it.
Can you at least get the light?
They've got lights on them, don't they? They do have lights in them, and they do work.
Well, it's broken.
Yeah, I know it's
So
broken.
if you hit your brake lights, that white bulb's going to blind somebody at night.
Oh, okay, well, can you put red tape on it? Will that work?
Yeah, but I don't think red tape's going to help you there. You don't have enough plastic to tape over.
Well, you know, I kind of hate to buy one if I'm going to get the whole bed and it's going to have everything on it.
I gotcha.
You know, I just don't want to spend the money.
I understand.
And, you know, I don't drive it to Texas. I don't drive it in the city. I go to Guthrie and Kingfisher. I'm going right now to check on cattle.
Okay. Well, I did issue for a defective equipment. It's $80. You have till September 16th.
In this scenario, it is evident that at least one of Ms. Hamill's kicks connected with Officer Massini's leg, an action that a court would likely categorize as both an assault and a battery resulting in harm. Following her arrest, Ms. Hamill declined medical attention but was taken to the ER for assessment before being sent to jail. Court records reveal that she was charged with assault and battery on a police officer, resisting arrest, obstructing law enforcement, and operating a vehicle with defective equipment. She pleaded guilty to the misdemeanor charges, with a felony charge dropped as part of a plea deal. Ms. Hamill received a 4-year deferred sentence and was fined $50 for each count.
Do not take off.
Shut up and give me that and I'll sign it.
Step out.
No.
We're beyond that.
Do you want me
Step out. 305 dispatch. Got one taken off. Yes! Get out of the car! 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 Get out of the car!
After her arrest, body camera footage circulated on social media, leading to a city council meeting with over 50 attendees discussing the incident. Some supported the police department, while others protested Ms. Hamill's treatment. Ms. Hamill's attorney criticized Officer Massini's actions as unnecessary and tormenting, suggesting potential legal actions. Officer Massini was graded a C- for his professional demeanor, but also criticized for using a taser on an elderly woman. While his actions might be legally defensible, it was deemed excessive. Ms. Hamill received an F for non-compliance, attempting to flee and resisting arrest. Despite reservations about the taser use, her conduct created a constitutional basis for it. Choosing not to contest the citation resulted in multiple convictions on her record instead of addressing the issue legally. Now let's move on to the next investigation where an officer gets suspended.
Our EMS, taser deployed, 1 female, custody. Why didn't you just sign the ticket?
Because I felt like you would be clear with me, because I have been in town forever with this kid. I've been on go to and get it safe quarters.
Do you realize you just got yourself in a whole lot more trouble?
On the morning of April 19, 2023, Officer Scott Harrell from the Texas City Police Department approached driver Christopher Scholl at a pump within a Buc-ee's gas station. Officer Harrell alleged that Scholl had swiftly maneuvered through parking spaces, prompting a white truck to abruptly brake in order to avert a potential collision. The ensuing exchange between the two was recorded by Officer Harrell's body camera. Officer Harrell remarked that if he had not already exhausted his supply of tickets, he would issue Mr. Shaw a citation for disregarding a traffic control device. This statement was made despite the fact that the reported infraction took place on private property.
The reason why you felt you needed to come through the parking lot like that?
I didn't think I did anything wrong. I just came over to get gas.
You were speeding and you cut through parking spaces. You know you can't do that.
I didn't think I was doing anything, man.
I mean, you
all
looked
I
around.
was coming to get gas.
Yep. Oh, are we gonna go back and forth, or are you just gonna?
You asked me a question. You want me to answer it or not? I'm not. If anything, I thought I was going even slower than normal.
No, sir.
Normally, people don't even park where you park, and that's the direct path to the gas pumps.
You almost hit that car that was turning right there. I was watching, man. As soon as you cut in front of me like that, I was like looking and I watched it happen. So
I come here every day. There's almost never, ever anybody. So yeah, I go through there because it's the straight path.
On April 19, 2023, Officer Scott Harrell of the Texas City Police Department approached Christopher Scholl at a Buc-ee's gas station, accusing him of driving recklessly through parking spaces, causing another vehicle to brake suddenly. After being cited and released, Scholl obtained body camera footage and posted it on his YouTube channel, which gained traction on other platforms. In response to public backlash, Texas City Police Chief Joe Stanton announced an internal investigation by the Office of Professional Standards into Harrell's conduct, with the potential for criminal charges.
Every day when I come through.
Okay, look, I'm not gonna write you tickets, but the only reason I'm not writing you tickets is because I'm out of tickets right now. Okay, otherwise you would be receiving some tickets.
For what? What did the citation? I'm just curious.
Disregarding traffic control device.
On private property?
Yes.
Okay.
You still can't do that.
Harrell was placed on administrative duties during the inquiry. Scholl's citation was later dismissed, and he revealed plans for civil action against the department through online campaigns. While the surveillance footage remains undisclosed, Scholl's actions were commended for complying with Harrell's orders while respectfully dissenting.
So, I'm not going to write you a ticket.
I hear you, man. I understand.
I don't appreciate the attitude. Two, I get it. You're upset. Nobody likes cops pulling up on them. Nobody likes it. Okay, but you know you did wrong. You know you're not supposed to cut through the parking lot. And instead of being like, "Oh yeah, I messed up. Sorry, it won't happen again," you want to sit here and go back and forth with it.
There's a lot better things than this to be doing for you.
You're right. I was working on a report.
You can be over here, and there's people right now running 90 miles an hour on the thing.
You want to go to jail?
So
you want to go to jail? You could go to jail for this.
You can do what you want to do. I can't stop.
I don't want to take you to jail.
No.
That is definitely a waste of my time. Okay, but the attitude is not necessary.
I agree.
That's on your part, sir. I haven't been rude to you at all. I will get in trouble. You go file a complaint, get me in trouble. Write me up.
I'm not worried about that.
All right, well, I'll make sure that I'm there all the time. If I see it happen again, then we'll go from there, okay?
Okay.
All right?
I'll look that law up on private property. I don't believe you have an authority to do anything here on this parking lot like that.
I could also take you to jail for Class B reckless driving, because you did almost hit that car.
The encounter highlighted the complex interplay between free speech rights and lawful arrests. The incident underlined concerns about retaliatory arrests and Supreme Court precedent's impact on individuals seeking justice.
You can do what you want to do, Harold. I can't stop you. If you want to be this way, then that's up to you.
I'm trying to be a reasonable
Are you
person.
having a bad day,
I
sir?
think
Is there a reason why you're acting like
I'm
this?
having a bad day because
Have I raised my
you're
voice to you
doing
at
this
all?
to me. I think this whole thing is ridiculous.
What do you specifically do you think is ridiculous?
That we're even talking about nothing happened, and here we are talking, and you're threatening to take me to jail.
No, I'm
And so I shouldn't be getting upset.
I don't call it a threat, sir.
No, it's a threat. That is a threat. You're threatening me under color of law now to take something on private
Color of
property,
law
which I don't believe you even have the authority to do.
It's a dictionary term, sir.
Okay.
It comes from black law.
No, it's not. It's a
Dictionary.
Class A misdemeanor for you to threaten or arrest me over something that you know it's not really true. But that's okay.
What's the penal code on that, sir?
The commentary supported Scholl's decision to legally challenge Harrell's conduct and encourage him to persist in pursuing a civil lawsuit.
This is a problem.
How's it a problem?
I feel
How
like
is
you're
this a
going to
problem?
continue to commit these behaviors that are unsafe and put people at risk.
So
You
now
don't
we're
feel
going
like you
after
did
people
anything
for
wrong.
something that's possible they may do in the future. So now we're playing Jean-Claude Van Damme future cop, and you need to stop me from something I may do in the future. That's now your position.
What is the law designed to do, sir?
Oh, I know you want
designed to
compliance.
stop people from
I know
doing
you
things
want
that they're not
voluntary
supposed to be
compliance. I know you want voluntary compliance.
Okay, go ahead and put your hands on the back.
Wow.
It emphasized the importance of respectful communication and lawful conduct in encounters with law enforcement. On December 13th, 2022, Officer James Hinkle, a member of the Waterbury Police Department, found himself in the midst of directing traffic in Waterbury, Connecticut. This was in response to a mechanical failure that had occurred at an intersection, rendering the traffic lights non-functional. The sequence of events that ensued was recorded by the dashboard camera installed in Officer Hinkle's police cruiser. This footage will take precedence, followed by the recording from Officer Hinkle's body camera. Throughout the incident, Officer Hinkle persistently asserts that the driver was attempting to collide with him. However, upon reviewing the dash cam footage from his police cruiser, it becomes evident that he moved aggressively towards her vehicle as she passed by. Additionally, he can be heard telling her that she's fortunate not to be in handcuffs at that moment. Officer Hinkle proceeds to request another officer's assistance in completing a citation for 2 infractions: failure to comply with an officer's instructions and reckless driving, both falling under Section 14-223 of the Connecticut General Statutes.
No! This means stop! This means stop!
I didn't see that until I was already past.
And then you still drove by me!
I'm so sorry, sir. I didn't
License and registration now!
Sorry. Give me a second, okay?
No, license and registration now!
Okay.
You almost ran over an officer standing in the middle of the street.
I'm so sorry. I didn't realize what was going on. That was very confusing.
It's a bright yellow jacket standing in the middle of the street. What don't you understand?
All the other cars were going.
No, they weren't. You were the only vehicle coming from that way. You almost ran me over in the middle of the street.
This section delineates the offense as failing to halt when signaled or disregarding an officer's directives. It stipulates that if a motor vehicle operator fails to promptly come to a complete stop when the signal of a uniformed officer or an officer with a prominently displayed badge, or if they defy the officer's instructions pertaining to vehicle operation, they will be considered to have committed an infraction. Moreover, Officer Hinkle cites Section 14-222 of the Connecticut General Statutes, which outlines the specifics of the reckless driving offense. Subsequently, the driver received the citation but was permitted to depart from the scene. However, the charges were subsequently dismissed. This event prompted an internal affairs inquiry into Officer Hinkle's behavior, leading to his immediate placement on paid administrative leave on January 9, 2023. Following the investigation, it was determined that Officer Hinkle had breached departmental policies through his actions, conduct, and demeanor.
Do a pickup.
What is such an important factor that me standing in the middle of the street,
Sir, I
stopping you, and you try to run me over?
Sir, I swear.
And then you looked at me, you waved at me, and then you kept going anyway.
I swear I was not trying to run you over. I thought the cars were going.
I'm telling you to stop in the middle of the street, and you wave at me and keep going.
I saw your hand before, and it was too late to stop. And
No,
I
it
put my
wasn't.
hand
You
up
were doing
saying,
10
"I'm
miles an
sorry."
hour, and you still drove by me.
I'm sorry.
You didn't even attempt to stop your car.
Sir.
You're lucky you're not in handcuffs right this second.
I'm very sorry, sir. I really
Explain to my kids why they don't have a dad a week before Christmas, because you're trying to run somebody over.
Consequently, on January 9th, 2023, Officer Hinkle's employment with the Waterbury Police Department was terminated.
Before Christmas.
Sir, when I see flashing yellow light...
It's not flashing, it's red and blue! That's a cop car standing in the middle of the street flashing lights! No, it's not an accident, you're just being irresponsible. Street, and then waves at me and still tries to drive by me. Run her, please, and make sure she's valid. A week before Christmas, I almost get ran over.
Right.
Yeah. I got 2 kids at home waiting for me to come home tonight.
Sir, I'm very sorry. I'm sorry.
Sorry doesn't break it. You looked right at me and still decided to drive by me. No, you weren't. I was in the middle of the intersection. Emotionally.
Chief Fernando Spagnolo, in an official statement regarding the termination, emphasized that Officer Hinkle's conduct during the encounter with a member of the community was unacceptable. Here comes our next investigation. June 11th, 2018 saw Deputy Duriel Aiken from the Pasco County Sheriff's Office detaining Dr. Catherine Coker on suspicion of running a stop sign close to her residence in Wesley Chapel, Florida. It's worth noting that Dr. Coker managed to reach her home before Deputy Aiken could initiate a traffic stop. Upon reaching her home, Deputy Aiken parked his cruiser on the street and proceeded to approach Dr. Coker after she had parked her vehicle in her driveway and stepped out. Deputy Aiken communicated to Dr. Coker that should she choose to conclude the traffic stop and enter her residence, he would proceed to arrest her under charges of obstruction, or what is commonly referred to as resisting.
I don't need a video. I saw you do it.
No, you need a video.
No, I don't. I saw you do it.
We'll be going to court because you did not see me do it.
Okay, if you say so.
Okay, I do say so. You guys have been targeting me and targeting me and targeting me because all the neighbors complain. And I'm not doing anything. I don't know, whatever. Write me a ticket for my insurance. I don't know. I
Can
can't
you
do
log
that.
into it? Or no?
I don't know. I don't know how. I have no idea how to do it.
But it's AAA?
Yep.
Okay. Well, just do me a favor. Just hang tight till I'm done, okay?
Yep. Harassment.
She was hauling.
This action is in accordance with Section 843.02 of the Florida statutes, which states, whoever shall resist, obstruct, or oppose any officer in the legitimate execution of a lawful duty without resorting to or causing physical harm to the officer's person shall be charged with a misdemeanor. Dwayne Eddie Coker, Dr. Coker's husband, and a detention deputy with the Hillsborough County Sheriff's Office during that period, inquires Deputy Aiken about the situation. Deputy Aiken proceeded to brief him on the matter, explaining that he witnessed Dr. Coker disregarding a stop sign. This observation is consistent with the provisions outlined in Section 316.123 of the Florida statutes.
Okay. Oh, sir.
How's it going?
Not bad, yourself?
Good, good. I'm Eddie Coker.
Deputy Aiken, how you doing?
Hey, man. Yeah, I work for HCSO.
Okay.
So I'm trying to... What happened?
She ran the stop sign.
Constantly call on me. I did not run the stop sign.
Do you have somebody showing her running the stop sign, or?
I saw it.
You saw it?
I saw it.
He didn't see it.
In this scenario, Deputy Aiken's testimony would likely hold legal weight and could potentially be enough to establish that Dr. Coker indeed ran the stop sign. However, it's important to acknowledge that a court might also consider the possibility that Dr. Coker's account is accurate and could find her version of events more credible than Deputy Aiken's.
No.
Relax.
No. It's harassment.
Well, as you can see, that's probable cause to do the stop.
Absolutely.
If she wants to take it to court, if she can take it to court, that's up to her.
Is there any way you can give me a one-time professional courtesy if I show you my ID?
We've been getting complaints in Seven Oaks in general. Because of that, we're enforcing everything.
Okay. Well, I'll be sure to let my agency know that if we stop one of you guys...
Alternatively, a court might determine that there exists reasonable doubt regarding whether Dr. Coker actually ran the stop sign, especially if other testimonies or evidence presented during the court proceedings cast doubt on the incident. Ultimately, the court's decision would hinge on a careful examination of all available evidence and testimonies. Mr. Coker subtly implies that he holds the position of a deputy within the Hillsborough County Sheriff's Office, even though he is in fact a detention center deputy without law enforcement jurisdiction. He further communicates to Deputy Aiken that if he persists in issuing a ticket to Dr. Coker, he'll take the initiative to direct his department to issue tickets to Pasco County officers whenever an opportunity arises. This stands as an alternative to offering these officers a customary professional courtesy. Deputy Aiken unquestionably held the belief that Mr. Coker was a deputy sheriff rather than a detention deputy. Mr. Coker took no action to rectify Deputy Aiken's perception and certainly presented himself in a manner that strongly implied a greater level of legal authority than his official certification as a correctional officer actually granted him. After Deputy Aiken issued the citations to Dr. Coker, Mr. Coker once again requested a professional courtesy from Deputy Aiken. During their exchange, Dr. Coker left the scene and headed inside her home while using a racial slur directed at Deputy Aiken. Deputy Aiken reiterated his stance in defense of issuing the citations. He then shared contact information for his supervisor with Mr. Coker before departing the scene without any further incidents. Following this, Mr. Coker promptly contacted a supervisor to express his grievances regarding the encounter with Deputy Aiken. In this conversation, he explicitly referred to himself as a cop. Eventually, Dr. Coker successfully contested the charges, leading to her acquittal for the offense of running the stop sign. The other citations were also dismissed. However, due to Mr. Coker's behavior during this incident and subsequent internal affairs investigation, he faced administrative charges, including misdirected action in an official investigation, misuse of communications facilities, improper use of an official position, and conduct unbecoming a member of the sheriff's office. As a consequence of these actions, on January 30th, 2020, the Florida Criminal Justice Standards and Training Commission, responsible for certifying law enforcement and correctional officers within the state, made the decision to revoke Mr. Coker's correctional officer certification due to the misuse of public position. And now let's move on to another investigation. On February 4th, 2020, Officer Kevin Munger, employed with the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office, was on duty as an off-duty security guard at a Publix grocery store located in Jacksonville, Florida. During his shift, Tawanda Crowell, a local mother, purchased several items from the store. Subsequently, she left the store area only to re-enter briefly before ultimately exiting the store. Publix manager Anna Augusto Bonner approached Officer Munger and informed him that she had observed Miss Crowell leaving the store with items in a bag, yet she hadn't witnessed a transaction taking place. Responding to this information, Officer Munger approached Miss Crowell, who was by then seated inside her vehicle with her 12-year-old daughter and two nieces seated in the back.
What it's gonna come
You ain't seen me sell nothing.
Then show me your receipt.
I will not.
If you took it without paying for it,
I don't steal. I don't steal.
Then all
I do not steal.
all they want to do is
I don't
not have you
steal.
here.
I don't steal.
Okay, then show me your receipt.
I won't do that.
Why?
I won't do that because...
Do you realize you can go to jail for that?
Oh, I realize if I stole it, but I don't steal.
You're not cooperating.
I'm not cooperating because you ain't got no probable cause because they said something. Go watch the camera first.
Ma'am.
I'll walk back in there with you and go watch the camera. No, I'm upset because I see this every day.
I don't have access to the camera.
Officer Munger proceeded to request that Ms. Crowell provide him with her identification and the receipt for a Publix purchase. Despite his repeated requests, Ms. Crowell declined to comply with his demands. In response, Officer Munger informed her that she would be taken into custody. Officer Munger's decision to arrest Ms. Crowell was likely founded on probable cause, given the information provided by Ms. Augusto Bonner's accusation. Moreover, there is a strong likelihood that a court would recognize Officer Munger's actions as having reasonable suspicion to detain and request identification from Ms. Crowell. However, it's crucial to highlight that Ms. Crowell would not be under a legal obligation to present a receipt or any form of identification. This is a key consideration in the scenario, emphasizing an individual's rights within such circumstances.
No, everybody ain't.
Well, most of them are.
They is.
We can profile anybody.
I see y'all up here every day bothering people.
I don't bother anybody.
Whoever.
Can you just show me your receipt?
No, I'm not gonna do that. Because that makes absolutely no sense at all. I'm not going to.
Can I see your receipt?
If they sent you out here, that means they saw me steal.
They didn't see you go through a register
then, so
and pay.
why not do that? Protocol is
Step out of the car.
To go look on the camera.
Step out of the car. Step out of the car and come with me.
I'm not stepping out no car.
Then you're going to go to jail.
Officer Munger resorted to deploying his taser against Ms. Crowell, causing her to fall to the ground and subsequently restrained her with handcuffs. According to the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office Order 551, which outlines the department's guidelines for response to resistance, it stipulates that officers are authorized to use force at a level that is both reasonable and essential for making an arrest or safeguarding themselves or others from potential physical harm, resistance, or life-threatening situations.
Lieutenant,
come on.
No.
You're going to go to jail.
No, I'm not.
You're
no,
going to go to jail.
No, I'm
yes,
not.
you are.
No, I'm not.
Now give me your receipt.
I'm not giving you my receipt.
Come on.
No, I'm
You're
not.
going to jail.
No, I'm not.
You're going to jail.
No, I'm not.
You're going
no,
to jail.
I'm not. No, I'm not.
You are going to jail.
No, I'm not.
I'll tell you what I'll do.
No, I'm not.
You're going to jail.
No, I'm not. Call your mama.
Nevertheless, while certain actions by Ms. Crowell upon exiting the vehicle could be interpreted as potentially evasive, the body camera footage notably reveals that when Officer Munger deployed his taser, Ms. Crowell had been standing at a reasonable distance from him, with her hands positioned by her sides for a significant duration. This stance cannot be reasonably classified as active physical resistance. Furthermore, this situation would not have warranted a reasonable officer to believe that Ms. Crowell posed a threat of physical harm or intended to strike him.
Turn around right now. Turn around right now for not cooperating.
Cooperating?
Turn around.
I didn't steal.
Tasing you right now.
I didn't steal nothing. It is.
Officer Munger consistently informs Ms. Crowell that she'll be taken into custody due to her refusal to present her identification and receipt. However, he fails to specify the exact offense for which she would be arrested. Given her protections under the 4th and 5th Amendments in this situation, it's important to note that although Ms. Crowell displayed uncooperative behavior, she was not under any legal obligation to furnish Officer Munger with her receipt or identification. Consequently, it's probable that a court would determine that her actions could not result in an obstruction conviction. Ms. Crowell was held in a police vehicle and offered assistance by Jacksonville Fire Rescue EMS to remove taser darts. However, she preferred going to the hospital for dart removal by a licensed physician due to one dart being lodged in a sensitive area. An off-duty officer watched her children until they were picked up. Officer Munger discovered her receipt in her vehicle after her arrest, as shown in camera footage. After a 6-hour wait, she was taken to the hospital for dart removal and then to jail. She was initially charged with resisting arrest without violence, but the charge was dropped by the state attorney's office. An internal investigation by the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office into Officer Munger's conduct took place after a complaint, though the officer was cleared based on body-worn camera evidence. Officer Munger has faced 25 citizen complaints since 2004, with most not resulting in sustained findings. The Sheriff's Office purges officer discipline records after 5 years. Ms. Crowell filed a lawsuit against Publix in June 2020, which was dismissed with prejudice in December 2021 after an undisclosed settlement. Overall, Officer Munger's actions and Ms. Crowell's case involve various legal and investigative proceedings.